I can imagine people going to the cinema and saying, well, that's you. It was about, you know, just writing something authentic and original that hasn't really been done before, and that was the plan. That was always the plan to put out something that we haven't seen. It was just about trying to get the best, like whether they're, you know, up and coming comedians, whether they've been doing it for years, you know, just mixing and matching, you know, the best of music, best of comedy, the best of the acting role. You know, to do a good, authentic comedy, you've got to know the world. Like, I think that's what it is, and I think there's too many writers that try so hard, like, to get that genre down to a T, get the right dialogue, get the right slang, and you know the kids will turn off if it's not right, and they feel that the dialogue that you're saying isn't authentic, and they will just lock off. So to get a comedy right, I think it's got to be even more authentic than what a drama is. Like. And so I think that's what it is. I think people don't know how to really, you could do as much research as you want on something, but unless you're from that world, then sometimes you can't really beat that. You've got to write what you know. That's something I've always been kind of told. Write what you know, and you'll get some of the best writing, I think, that way. Obviously there was so much pressure that, because it's my name on the film, and I always kind of knew that, so there was that pressure to live up to it and make sure that, you know, sometimes there's so many cooks in a film. You know, you've got to deal with producers, other people that are telling you do it this way, and I was just adamant that no, it has to be done that way. So, you know, when everyone wants to go left and you want to go right, it's kind of a hard thing. But yeah, I learned a lot about myself, a lot about, you know, I learned a lot more about the whole film industry through doing this, and it's something I'd love to do again. I've definitely got that kind of bug now to carry on doing this. Not really doubts, it was just, you know, you have good days, you have bad days, and some days you're like, oh, this ain't gonna work, we're not gonna get it, you know, because we were kind of up against it. It was a 3.5 week shoot, and we were trying to fit so much into that. So, you know, you have good days where everything just works, and some days where it's not so good, and it was just about, you know, just trying to calm myself down and having the faith that actually, you can do this, you can do it, you can. You wrote the film. No one else knows this film like you do, so you can do it. And yeah, luckily I had a lot of friends around me as well. I'm blessed that, you know, we had such a good cast that the friends around me. You know, there was always support. There was always people I could kind of go to for support throughout it. I don't really care about what too many critics say, to be honest, because I know that actually I've already seen the reaction to the film from the people that I wanted to please. And that's really just the people that I grow up with in my area, people that this film was made for. So as long as they're happy, I'm cool. I never made a film, you know, for the critics to give it 5 stars, and I made a film so that people would just laugh. People that know that world, have grown up in a London council estate, would just be able to go there and laugh and relate to it. And so people that have never lived in a London council estate can't really tell me, well, no, that's not real, that's not authentic, because how do you know? Like, you don't know that. So I think the days of worrying about critics are kind of over. I think it's up to the people to decide what a good film is and what's not. Really, this film has baited you up, so you've got to stop, man. You know, you've got to, like, you know, it's not good to be a cave. Do you know what I mean? That was the message, really. It's about being yourself, not realising that, you know, every action has a reaction, and when you put out a certain thing out there, you know, a certain mind frame out there, then people are going to treat you a certain way. So I just want, you know, I can imagine people going to the cinema and saying, well, that's you. You are K, bro. You need to fix up, bro. Like, and that's, yeah, man. Just, we need a few more Kenneths off the road, like, and fix them up. They should read it, because you know what? It'll be a different night in the cinema. I promise you that. You know, you haven't seen a UK film like this. You know, go to the cinema for 90 minutes and have a bit of a laugh. It's just a comedy. It wasn't made to be too serious, so don't take it too serious.
Apologies, I didn't call you back yesterday.
Man never calls him back, blood.
I don't was on the phone for yesterday.
Yeah, all the time, still.
That's it, no more, you gotta go, cuz. That's it. Don't roll with Kenneth. Tried to tell me to call him K.
It's a wicked concept, like, do you know what I mean? And it was almost so obvious that it's like, why hasn't no one done a comedy? Like really. But then it's like, you know, sometimes the most obvious ideas that takes the biggest guts to do. people are going on like it was a risque thing to do, but I didn't even think about it as a risque thing to do. It was just like, yeah, this is a cool concept.
To be honest, no. We sort of saw this vision years ago. That it just, I think the timing was right where all the gritty urban films came out. So when we came with our comedy concept, the urban gritty stuff was sort of played out, and it would be a nice time for a break, a change of the urban genre.
For me, it was probably like, because this was my first time reading a script, so for me, it was probably like just revising the script and stuff like that. Get me? But when we had rehearsals, that kind of helped. So yeah, the script for me really.
I don't really find nothing too difficult, like, especially when you're working with talented actors. Like, to be, I'm not even saying it because they're here. When you're working with really good people or people that know their characters, because all it boils down to is that if you're confident in other actors, then you're confident. You know, like when I say this line, that person's gonna do this, that person's gonna do that, and that person's not gonna let me down. Because that's the most basic thing they teach you in drama classes in secondary school. Do you get what I'm saying? You don't. If someone drops, someone picks up. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, once you've got that dynamic within your group, like, it's not difficult, it's just fun. I think shooting films is the most fun thing. It's like the most fun thing I've ever experienced in my life. Like being on set, filming a film. Like, do you know what I mean? So, it's never stressful.
Adam said, bro, you need to do it. We couldn't find no one else. I was a bit in two minds of getting into the limelight as such. But in the end, it was sort of an unanimous decision between Adam and then myself that it would be for the best interest of the film.
That's a given.
Yeah. This is the unity.
That's a given. This is the family.
Family, definitely.
So yeah,
I got a few projects that's going to be coming out that they're all going to be involved in.
Be yourself, man. Like, be yourself. Like, it's when you choose to become who you are and be comfortable in your own skin. That's when you can be a man. That's when you can be like a woman. That's when you can go out there and be something. You can't go through your life being what you think other people want you to be, or trying to aspire to something that you're not. Just be comfortable in your own skin, and you find out you make progress in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes to #1 in the box office.
Yeah, at the premiere, it's just going to be nice to just have the whole cast all together in one spot. You know what I mean? Just meeting everyone and just enjoying ourselves, man. Because it's hard work.
Because it's funny.
It's funny. That's
Funny is the first. Please show your support.
It's the first, you know, and it's the first, and you know, there's a need for, in the same way that, you know, there's a UK movement in music, there's a need for a movement to be in film. It exists already, but we need all the young people there to feel a sense of ownership of these films, because they're pioneering the next generation. And you know, in a few years' time, we won't be having a conversation about the first comedy. We'll be having a conversation about several comedies coming out in a year. Do you get what I'm saying? Besides that, it's an entertaining film. So it's not like a Team UK, just support it because it's a UK film. It's a good film. Do you get what I'm saying? But on top of that, we need to support each other.
Take off your creps, TJ.